Okay, here we go. NFL Week 3 Pickems. We got the first game. We got Tennessee at the Giants. Giants in turmoil. How's Tom Coughlin got to get his team together? They need to win now. They're in trouble. If they want to have any shot at the playoffs, they must win this week at home after a pathetic performance last week on the road against Indianapolis. They got to keep Eli Manning upright. Brandon Jacobs fiasco. They must get it done. Tennessee. How's Vince Young going to respond? Everyone knows that his mental breakdowns. He can get inside his head when things do go wrong. So Chris Johnson's going to have to pick up the load after being stifled and completely getting driven into the dirt last week against ferocious Pittsburgh defense. I think the Giants need this win more than Tennessee. Tennessee should be better along down the road in that division. They're in a tough division, but they should compete. I think the Giants do need this one more than Tennessee at home. Giants by 4. Cincinnati at Carolina. Cincinnati last week getting lucky, getting the yellow flags against Baltimore 2 years in a row, winning football games by the yellow flags. I think Cincinnati is overrated. I do not like their team. You look at going back to last year, they were the worst team to make the playoffs. Couldn't get it done against winning football teams. Carson Palmer, I think, is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league. But Cedric Benson, he is having a new life in Cincinnati. He's going to have to take over the reins. I just don't like the T.O. Chad Johnson clown experience on that sideline or in that game. I don't think it's going to pan out well for him in the long run. But they do have a great defense on the rise. Carolina, they're a mess. Starting rookie quarterback Jimmy Clausen, the third game, has rebuilding written all over it. It might take years. Cincinnati's going to get the job done on the road. Cincinnati by 10. Pittsburgh at Tampa Bay. You look at a young quarterback in Josh Freeman versus a Dick LeBeau run defense. I think this Pittsburgh Steelers defense is way too nightmarish for a young quarterback to know what he's looking at. The complexity of blitzing schemes. We're just going to turn up the heat. This might be the most ferocious and most nightmarish Steelers defense I've seen come out the gate yet. And once Ben Roethlisberger comes back, it might spell doom for the rest of the league. How good can they really be? Charlie Batch getting the start. We finally have stability around that offense. The breakout on offense, go around the ability of Charlie Batch, have a whole game plan. If Tampa Bay doesn't respect his arm, Charlie can put the ball there. He knows his offense better than anybody. Brandon Hall is going to have a good game as well. I think Charlie's going to open him up. I think this is a breakout game for the Steelers as far as offense. They do crack the end zone twice. Pittsburgh on the road by 13. Buffalo at New England. New England's one of the most feared teams at home. Not only at home, but when they come off of a loss. Belichick and Brady, they rarely lose 2 in a row. Going against the worst team in the league in Buffalo, starting Ryan Fitzpatrick. You look at New England's defense, they're young. They got carved up last week against Sanchez and the Jets, so this is a good week for them to rebound. I like New England by 24. Cleveland at Baltimore, my upset special. Cleveland over Baltimore. I just don't like what Baltimore has right now. I don't like what they've shown. Talent won't get it done. Putting up only 10 points with that kind of weapons in that offense. Joe Flacco throwing 4 picks. The blueprint is set out. How to beat Flacco in that offense. Just get inside his head. Put some pressure on him. Drop some guys in the box. Cleveland with Seneca Wallace. The Cleveland curse continues. Jake Delhomme going down with a high ankle sprain. Cleveland does play the division tough early in the year. I really do believe that they do have a legitimate shot at going into Baltimore, with Baltimore needing a win in the division. Ray Lewis in that defense, still feared, ageless, but I do have some holes, and I do think Cleveland has a shot at becoming the upset special this week, so I'm going to take Cleveland by 3, upset special over Baltimore. San Francisco at Kansas City. Kansas City starting out great. Week 1 against San Diego. Having an okay performance against Cleveland in week 2, but 2-0 against 0-2 should be the other way around as far as the preseason rankings. San Francisco, they're physical. They had a great showing last week against the Saints. I think they are slow out the gates. I think they will get it together in a weak NFC West. Kansas City, it's just Matt Castle. You just don't know what you have with them. I think they're overperforming. They're overachieving. I think this is the week where they come back down to earth. I think San Francisco needs to go in on the road and just completely manhandle them. San Francisco by 11. Dallas at Houston. Game of the week. Battle of Texas. 0-2 Dallas versus Houston 2-0. Houston already getting the job done in the face of adversity. in the face of fear, being down 17 points on the road against Washington. Schaub thrown for almost over 500 yards of offense, 497 yards to be exact, passing the ball. Dallas, they don't have an identity. They can't get the running game going. They have so many weapons like Baltimore. They just can't get it done. They're one-dimensional. Tony Romo, one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league, just like Carson Palmer and the Bengals. Starting 0-3 would be a backbreaker to Dallas. It can cause some serious stuff in Dallas. A lot of question marks with Wade Phillips, Jerry Jones, how they're going to respond. I do like Houston at home. It's hard to go against them when they have their confidence soaring. They have a Dallas team that don't know their identity. They don't know how to win football games right now. I'm going to say Houston by 6. Detroit at Minnesota. You have Brett Favre. Last year he came out of the gates. He had an easier schedule. He had Cleveland week 1 and he's had an easier schedule last year. Coming this year, he will open up against a Thursday night against New Orleans. You come back the second week, have a bad game against a physical Miami team. Detroit, they're no more gimme. They're no more pushover. They have a good team. They're going to be tough in the next couple of years. Matthew Stafford, when he gets healthy, they should have a football team to build around him in the draft, become more competitive. Minnesota needs this game at home in the Dome. Gut check time. Beat a team we're supposed to be beat. Favre should get back on track. Offense needs to get going. Adrian Peterson. Favre needs to find his go-to guy this week. I like Minnesota at home by 13. Atlanta at New Orleans. This could be the upset special, but it's very hard to go against New Orleans in the Dome. Super Bowl champions. Starting 2-0, getting some breaks in between. That's what good teams do. They find ways to win. San Francisco took it to them. Physical. They edged it out, giving Drew Brees time to go down the field and kick the game-winning field goal. Atlanta, I think they have a chance, a legitimate shot at taking the division away from New Orleans later in the season, see how they respond. But Atlanta's not a good road team. They play better at home. So I like New Orleans by 6 at home. Washington at St. Louis. Washington, Donovan McNabb, what a quarterback can do to that football team. Going down to the wire last week, blowing a 17-point lead against Houston and Matt Schaub, but it's no wash. St. Louis, they're looking good. They're looking good with the rookie quarterback and Sam Bradford. They have a bright future ahead of them, but I think Washington coming in there, chip on their shoulder after just completely just gagging down a 17-point win at home. I think they will respond. I like Washington by 17 at St. Louis. Philadelphia at Jacksonville. It only took a couple days for the Michael Vick era to begin. I thought it would at least take one series when Kevin Kolb would go in there and throw the interception. This could be wrong. This is a very, very just gentle situation with Philadelphia got right now, starting Michael Vick and with their young quarterback and Kevin Kolb. Going into Jacksonville, we're a team that's very inconsistent. They got problems all around the board. You just don't know what Jacksonville teams are going to pop up here and there. They can't even sell out their stadium. The terrible last week against San Diego, gets complete whomped on in a big margin. Philadelphia, with Vic the way he's playing right now, this is the first time I've seen him in his career really use his arm to beat teams. I mean, he's looking like the Vic of old. With his legs. That was only a matter of time before he got his legs under him, understanding the offense. But he is looking good with his arm as a quarterback, throwing the ball downfield. He's accurate. It's hard to go against Philly right now, even though I do think they handled things wrong with Kevin Kolb this early in the week after naming him the starter, naming him the guy early in the season. But I do like Philadelphia over Jacksonville on the road. Philadelphia by 9. Indianapolis at Denver. Peyton Manning. What can Indianapolis do without Peyton Manning? I think they're a 4-12 win season. I just don't think they're that great of a football team overall, losing Bob Sanders. But Peyton Manning gives them that legitimate shot at winning the Super Bowl every year, and it's just very hard to go against Manning and what kind of points he can put up with his weapons with Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne at Denver. Denver's that team that's going to fall apart eventually. They did get a victory last week, but Denver's you just don't know how they're going to respond. Kyle Orton, I really do think that fast Indianapolis team can get around him, get to him. Peyton Manning should be able to put up some points. Denver is a defense that Indianapolis could have struggled against, but I do like Peyton Manning in Denver in Mile High. I do like Indianapolis by 10. Oakland at Arizona. Very disappointing in this Jason Campbell trade. I really thought Jason Campbell was that key ingredient in getting the Oakland Raiders to be at least an 8-win team this season. Darren McFadden, third best rusher in the league this year. Bruce Gradkowski, obviously the locker room loves him. He offers them a spark. Off-season complete waste in Jason Campbell. Arizona, they're just terrible. I hate their quarterback situation. Derek Anderson. You just won't be getting it done at Arizona. Arizona is a tough place to play, but Oakland going in there. Bruce Gradkowski getting the start. Spark. I like Oakland by 3. San Diego at Seattle. San Diego finally broke out on offense in a large margin in a shootout last week. They beat Jacksonville up pretty bad in the points margin. Seattle, still a team up for grabs. They look great in week 1, bad in week 2. San Diego losing in a tough Arrowhead in a key divisional game start. I think that was an early wake-up call. San Diego, they start slow every year. It looks like they're finally back on track with that offense and Phillip Rivers. Going into Seattle, where the unfamiliar territory, they don't really. I'm not sure about the matchup and how good they match up well against Seattle, but I really do think that they can bounce back, win the West. You look at San Diego by 17 points in Seattle. Jets at Miami, another team that can be an upset, another game that can be the game of the week. Big AFC East showdown. The Jets in that defense, very hard to go against them once again. Mark Sanchez, uncuff them, make them go downfield, trusting them, trusting your franchise quarterback, you can get it done. Going into the game against New England last week, finally let them play. Outscored New England 18-0 in the second half. Mark Sanchez looked sharp, he looked good, but at Miami, they also are physical. It's going to be a low-scoring game possibly. Both physical teams in the trenches. Last year, the Jets struggled to stop the Wildcat, so look more of that. But Brandon Marshall on the corner, you know, Chad Henne, who can drop back, give her the ball quick, and that's how to beat the New York Jets defense. You got to get the ball out quick, knowing what you're seeing. So very hard game to pick. I'm gonna in Miami. I'm gonna say Miami starts 3-0. I'm gonna go Miami by 4. Green Bay at Chicago, another division matchup early in the season. AFC North. Aaron Rodgers is a stud. I love him. I think he's that next generational quarterback that can get over the hump as far as the next Peyton Manning, the next Tom Brady, that franchise elite quarterback is going to get Green Bay to a Super Bowl soon. They're still my Super Bowl pick. Chicago, Jay Cutler, they're finally seeing the kind of offense, finally seeing the type of performances that they expected last year when they drafted or when they traded for him. Jay Cutler, I mean, it took him a year. You got to give him the necessary reps, the necessary. It's just a very hard thing to put your finger on. I mean, you have that defense, Brian Urlacher back. At home, you don't know how they're going to respond. I mean, 2-0, they should have lost the first game with if Calvin Johnson catches that football in the end zone in the final minutes. They did look a good week last week against a so-so Dallas team who has a lot of question marks. Green Bay going on the road. They did go to Philadelphia week 1, get the job done. Aaron Rodgers, he should spread that Chicago defense out, who should be relentless, who should be over-aggressive. I think Jay Cutler's going to have trouble finally seeing a defense this year for the first time that's going to get inside his head, facing that 3-4, facing Clay Matthews, who's going to come and just pound you, get after you. Green Bay does have a team that you can't be reckoned with. I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to get it done even without the running game. Spread Chicago out, go downfield, use the clock to his management. Chicago, at Chicago, I think they're going to drop one, go to 2-1. I like Green Bay by 10. And good luck to the rest of the teams, your favorite team this week. And here we go, Steelers. Here we go.